So we're doing a little bitty spotlight. So for those of you that don't know, this is Cary Bingham. Cary was a student of mine, still a student of mine, I guess, but he runs a gym up in Brookings now, been training with us for a long time. So first and foremost, how'd you get into all this stuff like jiu-jitsu and all that craziness?
I started doing judo. A friend got me over to Scooby's place when Master Sim was teaching judo, and did that for a couple years, and I did a couple MMA fights, thinking my judo would do everything I needed to do, and I got my 2 losses were chokes from the bottom. So I decided I better learn some jiu-jitsu, and once I started training, Next Edge is pretty much where I trained at. I'd done a couple of jiu-jitsu classes, but when I started training at Next Edge, right away I just knew that's what I was going to do, and full-time jiu-jitsu after that.
Sure. So like in the transition, you've had an opportunity to train with a lot of people in the Midwest here, and you've done very well competitively. As far as like the atmosphere with jiu-jitsu, what would you say like the atmosphere is in the Midwest with jiu-jitsu?
It's wrestling, you know. Yeah. There's a lot of no-gi, people like no-gi. I've just noticed that on the selling side of jiu-jitsu, people, the gi stuff is tougher here than some places, but I think that's changing too.
Yeah.
And the Midwest in the last couple of years is really producing some really high level, straight up jiu-jitsu guys or wrestlers.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I agree 100% that it was wrestling for a while, but now it's starting to evolve a little bit. But it's almost to where it's like wrestling for good reasons kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so you trained for quite a while, and then you decided you wanted to open up your own gym. What was the deciding factor with that?
Just that I would have guys ride down here with me, and then they'd fall off, and it kind of always hurt my feelings. Like I'd have a training partner, for like a couple weeks, or they would say they were going to come, like Wednesday night, right after work, pick me up, and then those guys would either never even show up in the first place or quickly drop off. And I knew that they would probably train if it wasn't the 45 minutes, an hour and a half class, 2-hour class, 45 minutes back, guys with kids, guys with, and I just honestly was completely selfish. I just wanted to train more. Yeah.
And so what would you say like your hardest, like if somebody's watching this that has never trained before, like what's been your hardest part of getting in transition? For me, it's like just the concern or the fear of the atmosphere, I think, of most people coming in. Mm-hmm. Would you say that's probably the same for you?
So, yeah, the intimidation of first starting.
Yeah.
And then if you can get somebody to start, they're in love with it immediately, right up until they realize that it's actually hard. You know, some people are like, this is the funnest hobby, little thing I can just dabble in a little bit, and then pretty quickly they're like, if I just dabble, I'm gonna kind of suck, and people don't like sucking at stuff, so it's either suck or do work. That's the
and I have the same. It's like people drop off at like that 4 to 6 month range because they're like, man, I've been working pretty hard at this for a while, and no matter how many times I tell people that, I'm like, man, it's going to take a while because you're going against, if you're judging yourself against like another live person that like has also been doing that same stuff, like it's just going to take quite a bit longer. And I think that's very difficult for a lot of people. Like if you're learning how to paint, or if you're learning how to code or something like that, there's these milestones that you can hit, and then you're like, okay, yep, I feel like I'm doing more. But when you're constantly going against somebody that is also evolving at the same time, it's like it'd be if code was evolving, or if all of a sudden like you were being forced to paint like something that was moving all the time. I don't know. It gets very crazy that way. So it is difficult to do that way. I wish people a lot of times would just realize, okay, I'm gonna set forward this next year. We don't have contracts at our gym, but sometimes I almost wish that we did, where it's just like, okay, here's this year-long contract, and like here's the reason why we're doing a year-long contract is because we know that it's going to take you that long to start to see some improvement. It sucks at the same time. It's the same side of striking where it's weird, where it's like, even though it's very minuscule, you can hit pads and you can feel really good, but then the first time you spar, you're like, oh man, I'm still very terrible at this, even though I feel amazing on the pads.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah. So has there been anything that you guys have done to like on the like No Illusions side? By the way, if you get a chance, go to up in Brookings, go to No Illusions. Make sure to check it out.
Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, bet. But like, is there anything that you guys have tried to do to try to fix that scenario?
It's happened almost by accident. I'm not the most social guy, or I'm awkward as crap. But I've been lucky to have a couple people that have the right personalities to and want to compete. That we've kind of created an atmosphere where everybody's part of the team, even if they're not going out and competing. They feel like they're invested in how everybody does, and they're invested in. It helps being a gym in a small town where we're not supposed to do well, and
Right.
you don't have the population to survive. So it's made them like evangelists about jujitsu. You know what I mean? They run around town and they talk. You guys, you know, and when somebody is out competing, everybody's watching the stream, you know, hyping it up. And like I said, that I just don't think to tell people they're doing a good job. And
Right.
luckily the room, for whatever reason, is evolved that they really rally behind each other as a team. So I think even if somebody isn't like just naturally gifted for jiu-jitsu, if they feel like they're contributing to the room, or they're even just friends with the guys that are, you know, and just like providing that kind of support, they're the guys that are texting and snapping each other and when they're at tournaments. Then even if they're not really excelling at jiu-jitsu, they feel like they're part of something bigger.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what. And well, I recognize it. Like I said, I didn't create that. I recognize that, and it makes me feel like I'm part of that too. So then I want to just keep
Pushing that further. Yeah, that sounds good. So what's next for you in the next few weeks and or months or years here? I know you got the pro tournament coming up in August, I think, right?
Yep.
So Subspectrum.
Yep. Personally, I've got some exciting stuff. The Subspectrum, that's a pro tournament. Hopefully, get some of that sweet jiu-jitsu money, as you say.
The millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like literally tens of dollars.
Tanks of gas.
Yeah.
Whole tanks of gas everywhere. And I've got Worlds, the old man, you know, the Masters 3 division. Try to go, you know, win my title at brown belt, and then really just trying to figure out how to put together a strong competition team and have people that don't need to compete but also feel like they're part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
And then my path going forward is just old man gi jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to be doing, I don't want to be doing, wrestling 20-year-olds, you know, as I'm approaching 50. I want to go just fight the other old guys and then coach,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the younger guys that want to be competitive, you know, and send them off to bigger schools or grow a team that can be competitive from a small town. That's my, you know.
Yeah, that's the big goal, right?
Yeah.
Like it's always fun being like from a small town. Even Sioux Falls, I feel like a lot of times people discount that because they feel like it's a small town, and then every time it's weird how many people come in here and then they'll see like people that, you know, they've seen on TV or something like that, and they're like, oh man, like this guy is trained here or whatever. And they're like, yeah, that's pretty common for this gym, luckily.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very fortunate in that realm. That's not the case for every
Yeah.
gym. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, and if you create your own fortune, then it's still fortunate. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? You're making conditions that make it the place that it is in Sioux Falls, but it is like there's like lucky breaks that you get all
Yeah.
along the way for sure. But those lucky breaks don't happen if you're not.
Yeah, if you're not
trying,
putting yourself in
you're
that
not- yeah,
situation.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. We're going to try to do these just so people can get to know the people around here better. I feel like a lot of times people don't know some of the other people that are around here, and so that's my goal, is to like once a week have somebody on here and just talk with them and ask them about how they got started with jiu-jitsu. Maybe they're outside of their life. Outside of this, you're pretty much full-time jiu-jitsu coach, right? Before then you were a machinist, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. If you need any machining done, maybe.
Don't
Like,
ask
don't ask me anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. That's the same thing with me. Like I was a banker for a long time, did computer security stuff. If you ask me how to do computer security stuff now, I'd be like, I don't know. Ashi to close guard. No, sir, those aren't security things.
Yeah, I forgot how to do math as soon as I started.
So just we went 100% into that.
Yeah.
That was it. So,
Yeah.
but, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.